Has Iran's latest missile strike really left Kuwait Security Academy in complete ruins, turning a training facility for law enforcement into yet another casualty of this rapidly widening regional conflict? Do these newly emerged visuals reveal the true scale of massive damage inside the Kuwaiti facility, showing just how devastating the impact was once cameras finally made it past the security cordon? Did a terrifying fireball really engulf the entire Kuwait Academy in the moments after the attack, lighting up the night sky and signaling the strike had struck with far greater force than initially reported? Was a sports hall inside the academy completely torn apart when ballistic missiles slammed into the Kuwaiti site, leaving behind a scene of destruction that few expected to see in a country largely on the sidelines of this war? Meanwhile, Iranian state media now accusing a major American tech firm of spreading outright lies, turning the information war around this conflict into its own separate battlefield. Did Google Maps quietly blur out Kuwait's Al-Shuaiba sites in the immediate aftermath of an Iranian missile impact there, raising uncomfortable questions about whether a private tech company is now shaping wartime visibility? Iran's press TV is now claiming that satellite imagery of the affected sites was quietly and deliberately degraded, alleging a cover-up designed to hide the true extent of the damage from the outside world. All of this unfolds as Iran and the United States continue trading missiles for a seventh consecutive straight day, with no clear sign yet that either side is prepared to step back from the brink. Tehran claims its latest missile and drone operations have expanded across multiple Gulf countries hosting U.S. forces. Iran says its naval forces carried out a major operation in the Strait of Hormuz targeting vessels it describes as violators. The Revolutionary Guard claims 4 vessels were stopped during a combined missile and drone operation. Tehran says its retaliatory campaign has expanded beyond the Gulf into the Indian Ocean. IRGC Navy statement read, and I quote, "In the past few hours, for violating vessels, with the support of the terrorist American Army, intended to cross the Strait of Hormuz, but during a combined missile and drone operation, all 4 vessels were halted in their place." The IRGC Navy firmly declares that the owners of vessels, like the leaders of some southern Gulf countries, should not fall for the deception of the unfounded support from the terrorist U.S. Army, and should heed the warnings and declarations of the IRGC Navy, unquote. Iran warned commercial shipping against cooperating with the U.S. military, saying such actions could make them targets. The U.S. military rejected Iran's claims, calling reports of attacks on oil tankers completely false. U.S. Central Command statement read, and I quote, "Claim, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, claims that 2 oil tankers have exploded in the Strait of Hormuz after hitting mines in the international waterway. Fact, like most IRGC claims, this is false," unquote. Iran says it has shot down another American MQ-9 Reaper drone during the latest phase of the conflict. According to Iranian media, the drone was intercepted over Bushehr using newly deployed air defense systems. Iran says the interception marks the first major operational success for its latest air defense network. Tehran says it targeted a U.S. drone facility in Bahrain as part of its latest retaliation. Interior Ministry of Bahrain statement read, and I quote, "The siren has been sounded. Citizens and residents are urged to remain calm and head to the nearest safe place," unquote. Iran claims one of its strikes destroyed an artificial intelligence center linked to U.S. military operations. Kuwaiti air defenses were activated as missiles and drones were reportedly intercepted overnight. Tehran says several American military positions inside Kuwait were among its latest targets. Iranian media claims critical infrastructure in Kuwait was affected during the latest strikes. Reports circulating in Iranian media claim multiple Kuwaiti soldiers were wounded during the attacks. Tehran says its drones simultaneously struck American facilities across both Jordan and Kuwait. IRGC statement read, and I quote, "In line with the resounding and impact-oriented response of the Islamic Republic of Iran Army in targeting the strategic assets, command and control centers, readiness infrastructures and defense systems of the American terrorist army, a few hours ago, the Army's destruction drones in the 14th phase of the Lightning Operation, the ammunition depot of the American aggressor army in the Al-Adiri camp, and the headquarters buildings and ammunition depots of this child-killing army in the Ali al-Salem base, and several communication bridges in Kuwait targeted." Al-Adiri camp is one of the important support and reorganization centers of American forces, and Ali al-Salem base is also one of the largest support and coordination centers for American air operations in the Persian Gulf region. In continuation of these attacks, the fuel tanks of the aggressor army in Al-Azraq base in Jordan were also targeted by army drone attacks. Jordan's Al-Azraq air base has become a vital base for the United States due to its location, infrastructure, and deployment of modern military equipment and major American investment, which plays a key role in controlling the region and military operations in West Asia. The Army of the Islamic Republic of Iran, emphasizing that it is the heir of the zeal and sacrifice of the great nation of Iran, warns any power that wishes to test the will of the Iranian nation will face the determination and readiness of the armed forces and the heroic people of this ancient land. End quote. Reports citing U.S. officials say American personnel were injured during recent attacks on bases in Jordan. The conflict has widened as Iran claims operations stretching from the Strait of Hormuz to Jordan. Iran says its latest campaign now covers multiple theaters across the Gulf. American military installations remain on alert following Iran's latest wave of strikes. The strategic waterway continues to sit at the center of the escalating confrontation. With both sides intensifying operations, the regional conflict appears to be entering an even more volatile stage. U.S. forces carried out their 7th consecutive day of strikes against Iranian targets on July 17. U.S. Central Command says the strikes were designed to degrade Iran's military capabilities and limit its ability to project force. Earlier, Iran warned that any further U.S. attacks would bring a very devastating response from Tehran. Iran reportedly unleashed a wave of retaliatory strikes against Arab states aligned with President Trump, taking action after 6 consecutive nights of U.S. bombing operations. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said its forces struck Salama and Ghanem Island in Oman as part of what it called the 13th wave of Operation Nosser II. The IRGC announced that its units destroyed U.S. surveillance radar installations in Oman, claiming those systems were neutralized during recent strikes. Iranian statements also assert that strikes inside Jordan destroyed multiple U.S. aerial refueling tankers and several fighter aircraft that were operating from bases in the kingdom. Tehran's forces claimed they struck U.S.-supplied HIMARS rocket units and their missiles in Kuwait, saying the mobile launchers were put out of action. Iranian reports further alleged that their strikes killed both Allied personnel and members of U.S. Special Operations Forces embedded with partner units. The United States, however, has not confirmed any U.S. troop deaths or the loss of Allied personnel in these reported strikes. State-affiliated Fast News Agency earlier published a list saying Iran would target Middle Eastern ports that the U.S. military uses for logistics and resupply. The list of potential targets named by Iranian media included Jebel Ali in the UAE, Mina Salman and Al-Shuaiba in Bahrain, Camp Arif Jan in Kuwait, and Hamad Port in Qatar. Iran's declarations extended to naming the King Fahd industrial port in Yanbu, Saudi Arabia, and also claimed to have struck a U.S. command center located inside Syria. Targeting a command node in Syria, if true, would represent a direct hit on U.S. regional command and control infrastructure and escalate the cross-border confrontation.